What is up, ninjas? My name is Sam World, and today we're going to be diving into the world of the Shiba San and Baresko bassline from All I Need. Now, this bassline, guys, is a bit of a mutt. As you guys know, we have the wub basslines, we have the growl basslines, dubstep basslines, hard-hitting basslines, dumping basslines, and then we have this one, which is a combination of a wub and of a punchy bassline that we are known to hearing in tech house. Now, the thing with this bassline, guys, is that it does have a bit of attack to it. As you guys know, to make a wub, you don't have the attack be low because it's just like boom, but we have this little whoop to it, and that's what gives this track that really nice kind of groove to it. In my opinion, adding that hint of attack to it gives it a bit of a swing, and it sounds really good, as you're gonna see. Now for this, we're gonna be utilizing the mini V from Arturia. I want to introduce this to you guys, especially if you're making tech house. It's definitely a synth you might want to look into saving up for. It's good to know how to use at least 3 good synthesizers in different styles. For instance, Serum is a wavetable synth. The mini V here is supposed to be an analog emulation of the Moog Model D, and while it might not be perfect and it might not sound exactly like the Model D, it gets pretty close to a point where it gives you different tonalities than you would get from Serum and any other synth out there. So that's why I'm going to be introducing it today in this channel for you guys, so that you guys can use it. If you're making tech house, again, definitely a synth worth looking into, guys. Now, as always, guys, if you guys want to support my channel, you can find my work over at evilsounds.com, where I create a lot of sound mix for you guys to support my channel, and in return you get some dope sounds that I worked really hard on. For the one for this style will be the Dirty Chicken one. If you guys want to check it out, it's going to be for Silent One. And without further ado, let's get straight into this bassline. Alright, guys, so welcome inside of Ableton, and today we're going to get started with this. So I have the kick from the original song, which I cropped from the outro of it. If you're buying your songs on Beatport, on wave format, this is a good thing to do. You can collect a bunch of kicks that you know work for certain tracks, and then you can use them for your future productions. Now, we're going to be doing this again, 2 basslines inside of Serum, and 1 inside the mini V, which I'm going to teach you guys how to use so that you guys can go in with confidence and remake this yourself. Now, the first one is Serum, as it's a lot easier, and I'm sure a lot of you guys already know it. Now, what we're going to go for is, guys, is going to be a square bassline. The reason we go with a square is because if you hear the bassline from his track, it's not very subby, but it has a lot of mid-lows to it. So a lot of people will hear the square and they'll hear something like this, you know, and they're kind of drawn away from it. A lot of people go with the saw, triangle, or a sine wave. Now, triangle might work for this track, and we will try it out, but I think it's a square, mainly because it has so much body. We just have to control its upper harmonics with a filter. So what we're going to do is go with a filter, lower the cutoff maybe around 9 o'clock. Start to hear that sub to it. And what we're going to do with envelope 2 is shape the way that we're going to allow the sound to go up in frequency and then come back down. So we're going to give it a bit of attack. As I was saying in the beginning of the video, this sounds more like a wub to it, and also very punchy in a way. So we're going to have to lower that sustain down so that it doesn't have no bah volume as we hold down the note. And then the decay and the attack are going to control certain parameters. The attack will control how fast it takes to get to the max value, and the decay is going to control the way going down, how long it takes for it to come down. If you have low values for those, usually you get something very punchy, as you're going to see here. So what we're going to do is lower that decay maybe a bit, attack like so. We'll test it out like that, and put this here to open it up. So the attack I'm going to lower like around 37 milliseconds. I feel like if I put it too high up, it feels like it's lagging too much. If you hear the Shiba soundtrack, it does it, but it does it so smoothly. So you hear it, but it's not like bleh. It's more like a boom, 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 very fast. So we got to get that setting right. So around 37 milliseconds seems to work best for me there. So we're going to have it there. Decay time, we can increase it. Okay, cool. Once we have it there, let's turn this R and face down to 0%. That will make it so that we start the square on the same position, aka the face, the position of the wavetable, and the same location. You can add a bit of drive here if you want. But what we're going to do is increase the slope to maybe 24 so that we don't get a lot of the upper harmonics. As you can see, as I switch between the slopes, pretty much this is getting more stricter. So I can open it up more without letting out too much of the highs, as you can see that I would here. So I can go with 20. That's the reason why we have different slopes, guys. A lot of times people ask me, why do we need different slopes? We can just use this one. It seems to work for all the sounds. And that is true. But certain things will require certain slopes. Sometimes you might want to make something that resonates itself. So you would have a high resonation with the resonance. Well, at certain slopes, that changes the way that it alters it. So you want to be really careful with that. But here, 24 dB. you want to let out more of the highs, for sure, just make it go higher. Now this sound reminds me a lot of the Fisher Losing It. The losing it, da 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 da, because it has the same format. You have that little sense of attack to it. But the way Shiba uses it here on the bass line, on the main bass line, it gives a bit of swing to the track, and that's why it's so groovy. It has that attack to it where it's not starting right there, but it has that attack to it. So if I were to resample this just to hear that, which I will do it just so you guys can understand what I'm talking about there, and we'll solo these two here and just record that. And we look at that, you can see the bass hits. There is a bit of sidechain going on. Here the sidechain's not really doing anything, so you can see that this kind of just slowly comes in gradually. It's still punchy, but it's giving us that effect. All right, so that's going to be the Serum route here, guys. From here, it's, you know, you can choose different wavetables to try and get closer to the sound. We can go with maybe like a B-side square. You know, we could try a saw, which isn't as strong as that. Again, like I was saying, that square. Triangle, very subby, has a bit of saturation to it compared to sine, but the square is what gives us that nice body, that nice strongness. And I always tell people, you're making tech house, start off with a square to make your bass. All right, guys, now in the mini view, whenever you want to create something from start, make sure to go here, go to template, and just put one oscillator. That's going to help there. From here, you can set your waveform here. So we want a square. Okay, very standard, similar to what we're doing in Serum. Now the filter here you're going to have access to is always going to be a low pass filter. So we're going to go lower this cutoff frequency down. Bottom left, we can turn the glide on, and let's give it a little bit of glide. Okay, pretty cool there. And then what we're going to do now is maybe lower this cutoff all the way down, and we're going to open it up with the contour here, which is just the same thing as putting the envelope on the cutoff filter. Okay, from there, let's control the amp envelope. So the amp envelope is found here at the bottom, the loudness contour. That's your amp. So we're going to lower that sustain down. Let's give it a bit of decay. A bit of attack. Okay, cool. And then from there, let's control here the sustain down, and now we can control the envelope. So again, we're going to give it a hint of attack, and you just want to set it to where you think it feels right. Again, we're kind of trying to get that wub and at the same time that punchiness, so that it's like boom, 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 boom in a way. I'm gonna turn on the soft clipping so that it gives it a little bit more balls. The cool thing about the Moogs sometimes is that they'll have like a multi-drive knob, which you can use to kind of push it and cause it to kind of clip. But when you clip something in the analog world, it's more of a rounded clip, so it's a lot more pleasing. So from here, let's just control. And it's just about getting that attack and decay setting right to where you kind of want it. It's a bit of a, yeah. And that's where the hardness of these sounds come from, because you just got to get those settings right. But once you get them, you get something that sounds very close to it. With a bit of processing maybe and a master, will sound a lot better. But that's kind of like the basis of creating that sound, guys. It's the attack and the decay used in a way where you just get that nice little whoop to it, and at the same time the punchiness, you don't lose it. Pretty cool if you ask me. Very, very finicky though. You have to get those settings right, guys. But yeah, hopefully that inspires you guys to use bass lines like this. You don't have to have a very punchy bass line. You can have a bit of attack to them and still have that power, have that swing added to it with the attack. And that is how you do it. So I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial. If you guys have any questions, leave them down in the comments below. If you guys have tutorial suggestions, leave them down in the comments below. And if you guys want to support the channel, you can go to evilsounds.com. If you're making tech house, check out the Dirty Chicken sound set. If you own Silent One, that sound set's going to have a lot of crazy sounds for you guys to use straight out of the box, and I'm sure you guys will find very, very useful. As always, guys, thank you guys for your support as always, and you guys take care, and I'll see you guys next time for another video. Peace out.